Turn over in 41. Genesis 41. The chief butler gets back to his job, and it came to pass after the end of 2 years, he still ain't told the king about Joseph. 2 years later, he still haven't thought about Joseph. On this journey, you got to learn to wait on God. Joseph had to wait in that prison 2 more years. 2 more years. They that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings of eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Wait on God. Wait on God. You got to learn to wait on him. Waiting on him is trusting him. Don't get weary and well doing, but in due season, gonna reap if you faint not. Don't get weary, don't get tired of doing good. Joseph did a good thing. He treated the chief butler good while he was in his jail. Then he interpreted the dream for him, asked one favor of him. I'll tell you something. By God's divine providence, God didn't want the chief baker to remember him until his set time. God has his set time. Now I just got to report to you that along this journey, God's working on you. Oh, I know you don't want to hear that. God working on you. Are you ready? Are you ready for what God had for you? I know we all think we're ready. Joseph thought he was ready. He thought he had been through enough. But God left him there 2 more years. See, God is working in and out. He works inside the church and outside the church. God is doing other things outside. He's preparing things outside. He's preparing people. God prepares people. 2 years went by. And after 2 years, in God's perfect timing, God has perfect timing. God is never early, he's never late. He has perfect timing. After 2 whole years, and behold, that Pharaoh dreamed a dream. After 2 years, after God set timing, God gave Pharaoh a dream. God gave him a dream that no one in all of the world could interpret. There was only one person in all of the world who could interpret Pharaoh's dream. And after 2 years, Pharaoh dreamed a dream, and all of a sudden, the chief butler, oh, now I remember. Now I remember. He couldn't remember it in 2 years because God didn't want him to remember. God wasn't through with you. Oh, I know you don't want to hear it. After God won't let me leave there. We want things from God before we're ready. We're trying to rush God. We're trying to push God. We don't want to travail. We don't want to tarry. You can't rush God. Joseph would have loved to rush God. You can't rush God. In God's perfect timing, in God's timing, he gave Pharaoh the dream. In God's timing, the chief butler remembered Joseph. God's perfect timing. Look at verse 9, 41 and 9. We're wrapping up. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I remember my fault this day. He said, Pharaoh, you was mad with me at one time and put me in the prison. The captain of the guard's house, both being the chief butler. And we dreamed a dream in one night. I and he, we dreamed each man according to his interpretation of the dream. And there was a young man, a Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard, which told us of our dream and interpreted our dream. Each man according. Now he remembers Joseph. Going up to 37, 41 and 37. Now, Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dream. God gave him a dream that was so complicated, none of the magicians, astrologers in Egypt, nobody in Egypt could interpret it but Joseph. Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dream. In verse 37, it said, the thing was good in the sight of Pharaoh. Joseph's interpretation of the dream was good in the sight of Pharaoh and his servant. And Pharaoh said unto his servant, can we find such a man as this? A man in whom the Spirit of God is. A man in whom the Spirit of... How many in here filled with the Spirit of God? The Spirit of God is your guarantee that the purpose of God is upon your life. The Spirit of God is your guarantee that the purpose of God is upon your life. What did they say? What did Pharaoh say? I perceive that the Spirit of God is in this man. How many people can perceive the Spirit of God in your life? And verse 39, Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God, who showed it to him? God has showed thee all these things. And there is none so discreet and wise as you, Joseph. Thou shalt be over my house according to my word. According to my word shall all my people be ruled. On the throne will be greater than you. 41, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have set you over all of the land of Egypt. Look at Joseph coming to his purpose. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand. And arrayed him in another coat. Look at that third coat. Now this time it's a royal robe. Fine linen, and put gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried before Joseph, bowing the knee. They had a dream coming to pass. They are bowing to him. And he made him rule over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh has placed Joseph over every person in Egypt except himself. Potiphar, who bought him, now Joseph is over him. The warden in the jail, now Joseph is over him. The chief butler who forgot him, Joseph is over him. Verse 45, and Pharaoh called Joseph Zephaniah Paniah, and he gave him what? What did he give him? A wife. There's a mate on the journey. Pharaoh gave him a what? There's a mate on the journey. I know somebody glad to hear that. I know. Oh, I got an amen now. I know somebody glad to hear there's a mate on the journey. Pharaoh gave him a wife. Oh, it's quiet in this house. Pharaoh gave him a wife. He that findeth a wife findeth. Pharaoh gave him a wife. Pharaoh gave him a wife. I can't get past that. Pharaoh gave Joseph a wife. Now, how many of you know that when you wait on God, God will give you his best? Now, you know, the devil sent him Potiphar's wife. The devil sent him Potiphar's wife. But every good and perfect gift comes from above, comes down from the Father of light. Look gives him. Joseph kept his virginity, and God gave him a virgin. Joseph kept his virginity. Joseph was a young man, never knew a woman. The devil sent him somebody else's wife, and Joseph ran out of that house and left his coat. Joseph kept himself for God. God gave him his best. Gave Joseph a wife. Gave him a virgin to match his virginity. Keep yourself. Keep yourself. Keep yourself, college student. Keep yourself, and God will keep you. God got somebody for you. God got somebody for you. God has somebody for you. Every good and perfect gift come down from the Father of lights. Joseph kept himself. Remember the Bible has details that you just read over. The Bible said there was nobody in the house but her and Joseph. Oh, for a man concerned, Joseph could have got away with it. Wasn't nobody in the house but her and Joseph, but God would have seen it. God would have seen it. Let me tell you something. Don't let the devil talk you out of your purpose. God gave him a wife. Had a wife waiting on him. That wife was prepared when they threw Joseph in the pit. Everything you need is already prepared. Don't get weary in well doing. This journey, your journey, is not like my journey. My journey is not like your journey. God has specific. God has prepared specifically for you. God is a specific God. Your salvation guarantees you are on a journey to God's purpose. It is God's job to get you to the purpose. It was God who got Joseph there. If you know it was God that was in Joseph's hand, he would have took another route. He wouldn't have went to prison. He wouldn't have went to the pit. He wouldn't have became a slave. God is in charge of getting you to the purpose. You just don't throw away that purpose like Esau. You be like Jacob and cherish that purpose. Hold on to that purpose like Job. Hold on to that purpose like the Apostle Paul. I'm reminded when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, the Bible said his sweat became great drops of blood. Oh, the pressure was on him. He knew what it was going to be like to get to the cross. Oh, but he had a purpose. Oh, Jesus had to throw away his purpose. All of humanity would be just vanity. Your purpose, I hear the Lord saying, your purpose is just as important. Your purpose is just as important as the master. You know, oh, but I couldn't die for sin. Jesus died to save much people alive. Joseph's purpose was to save much people alive. Your purpose is to tell of his goodness, to save much people alive. Your purpose is we are to tell of his goodness that we may save much people alive. Tell of his goodness. Joseph's purpose was to save much people alive. Jesus' purpose was to save much people alive. Your purpose, we are ambassadors for Christ. We are Christ's spokesperson. We are to save much people alive with our testimony.